Today we are going to do a full review of the Oris ProPilot X Calibre 400. Welcome back to the studio. This is Andy in Singapore, and for today's video we are going to do a full detailed review of the Oris ProPilot X Calibre 400, and we've got a pair of watches here in two different colorways. These watches are loaned in from Oris Singapore, and I'd like to take the time to thank Oris Singapore for so kindly and generously loaning me both watches for today's video. This is a really nice gesture from them to trust me in reviewing their watches and trust that I'll take good care of their watches. So the ProPilot X Calibre 400 models, they were launched earlier this year during Watches and Wonder 2022, and at the time of this launch, the in thing, right, the trend, the ongoing trend of 2022 was to have colorful dials. So many brands, they were very quick to launch their own versions of colorful dials. We've got Nomos, we've got Zin. I think they were really quick to jump on this bandwagon of colorful dials, and Oris is no different. They launched three different colorways. Today we have the one in salmon dial as well as the more tool-like grey dial versions in for the review. So of course, the ProPilot X Calibre 400 is very much a modern style of pilot watch. Alright, it's not quite the World War II type of filigree type of watch, and you can see that the design cues, the design elements, they were taken or inherited directly from the older ProPilot X that I've reviewed 2 years back. And although this one here is built as a pilot's watch or a pilot style kind of watch, I think this makes a great daily wearer as well, because this look here is very versatile, and I would say it is of a really great size, and we've got really new modern materials used in this build over here. So when the Calibre 400 was launched together with the new Aquis diver, alright, that left many fans wondering if the in-house calibers, they will go on and appear in the other model line. So I would say this is the watch that many Oris fans have been waiting for. They were eagerly waiting to see this in-house movement being brought on to different model lines. And today we have this one here in the ProPilot X. We also see the new Oris 65 diver with the in-house Calibre 400. And I really think that in a few years we will see all Oris watches having in-house movement. And in terms of design and innovation, I wouldn't say that this is simply a case of Oris just dropping in the in-house movement on an existing watch case. Alright, you can see over here, everything looks like it is newly designed, and everything here is more or less a new innovation by Oris. From the overall build construction, we've got this full titanium build over here, from the watch case to the bracelet to the clasp, buckle, everything here is full titanium build on this watch. And when talking about this bracelet over here, I think I've never seen anything quite like this. Okay, so the design of the bracelet all through to this buckle or clasp over here, it is sort of a remake of the seatbelt buckle in the aircraft or on the airplane. And in terms of operation, this one here is really similar. All you need to do is pull the tab here. It says lift. There you go. So this is how you open up the clasp, and I think this is a really cool design by Oris. So with the lens zoomed in just a little bit, I'd like to share with you on the specs of the Oris ProPilot X Calibre 400. This one here has got a case size of 39 millimeters, and the total thickness of the watch is 12 millimeters. That's measuring from the base of the sapphire display case back to the top of the double dome sapphire crystal over here. Lug width here is 20 millimeters, and of course this one is a strap monster, but due to the design and overall weight of this watch, I think it is best to leave this watch on its original titanium bracelet. And while we're still on the bracelet, I think due to this unusual looking end link here, alright, it sort of makes the watch look like it is an integrated bracelet design. Again, this design was also very much in trend throughout 2021 and 2022, alright, so people are just crazy over integrated bracelet designs. Every brand was just trying to launch their own version of integrated bracelet watches. So I'm pretty confident to say that when Oris designed and launched this watch, they sort of have this intention in mind, which is to create a watch that sort of looks like it is also a sort of integrated bracelet. L to L here is very manageable, coming in at 47 millimeters. Do bear in mind that due to this protrusion coming out from this unusual looking end link, we're looking at a real world L to L distance of around 50 millimeters. And here are some more specifications that are not listed on Oris's official website. Let's start with the overall weight of this watch. Okay, so this is a brand new watch, all right? And with the bracelet unsized, it comes in at 99 grams. All right, so of course, this lightweight is definitely contributed by the fact that this is an all titanium build. Okay, so typically a watch like this, full bracelet, if it's on stainless steel, I think it is around 150 grams, but you're definitely seeing a great weight reduction over here. We've got a crystal size here of about 32.3 millimeters, and I think this is a really good crystal to case size ratio. And lastly, the crown on the ProPilot X Calibre 400 is fantastic. Okay, it is very grippy, it feels solid, coming in at about 7.1 millimeters. It is nicely knurled and signed. Okay, so operating this crown here is such a joy. Okay, winding is all smooth, the threading and unthreading, everything here works very well. Now let's have a look at the movement here, the Calibre 400 in-house movement from Oris. This movement was conceived by Oris in 2019, and I do feel that first look here reminds me of a Panerai in-house movement with very little decorations on the base plate. We do have a skeletonized rotor over here with the Oris emblem, and this movement here does have a really long 5-day power reserve. But the accuracy of the movement here is also very commendable, coming in at around -3 to +5 seconds a day, and I think this is actually better than COSC standards. And to wrap up this segment on the official specifications of the watch, this watch has a retail price of Singapore dollars 5,800. You can definitely get this one from the flagship boutique at Plaza Sing. On to the overall case design and build quality of the ProPilot X Calibre 400. This one here is totally different. I would say it is built from the ground up when compared to the previous ProPilot X that I've reviewed 2 years back. Alright, so from this case construction here, which is full titanium, to the new bracelet, to the new clasp, new buckle, new movement. Alright, everything here I would say Oris has done their work from the ground up, and the result here is just stunning. We're looking at a very nice multifaceted case here. It doesn't have fanciful bevels or polished bevels because this is done in a matte looking type of titanium finish. But on a whole, you do see many different small little faceting even on the lugs or on the end links over here, and I think all these features are really good design elements here on the ProPilot. The sort of engine turn bezel over here comes from the older ProPilot models, and of course this is modeled after the aircraft thrusters or engine or something like that. So I think again this is staying true to the original Oris ProPilot design. And of course I need to speak to you about this fantastic looking bracelet over here. Right, it looks good even with the protective sticker still on. So this is a loan model. Of course I'm not going to resize the bracelet and all that, but you do see that this is a brand new design from the end piece or end link over here, which sort of has this octagonal shape to it, and it tapers from 20 all the way down to 16 at the clasp. And this entire clasp assembly over here is heavily inspired by the seatbelt buckle. All right, from even in terms of the operation, all right, actual operation is the same as the aircraft seatbelt buckle. So very cool design element here. In terms of dial design though, the ProPilot X is very simple. It doesn't have any sunburst or applied markers or anything like that. I would say everything here is left to look like a toolish design, toolish watch, and again this is what the watch is meant for. For the 7-dial version over here, we've got white indices for our markers, white logo, and we also have silver handsets with a white date wheel. And when we look at the grey dial version, things are more or less quite the reverse, because now we've got black painted hour markers. The handset is also framed in more or less a dark gunmetal finish, and together with all the black prints, we've also got a black date wheel over here. If you ask me, I would very much prefer this black date wheel on the grey version, but overall I'm very confident to say that this salmon dial version here would be the attention seeker of the entire collection. Dial printing here is also kept to a bare minimum. We've got the branding at 12 o'clock zone and model name, as well as the power reserve here listed at the 6 o'clock zone. And let's check out the lume here on the ProPilot X models, and we'll start with the grey dial version. And here you can see that this lume here is really nothing to shout home about, and pretty sure it's not going to win any lume contest or anything like that. We do have lume hands and very little bits of the hour markers lume here, and there is no lume on the second hand. And as I bring in the salmon dial version, you can see that the lume on the salmon dial is so much better, and I think it's due to the fact that it doesn't have that dark coating on the hands and indices, thereby making this lume slightly better. And again, it's not going to win any lume wars or lume contests or anything like that, but I would say I'll take the salmon dial lume anytime. And next up, we're going to do a slightly longer segment on size comparisons, because I think it will be good to compare the Oris against a few of my watches I have in the studio today. So first up would be a comparison between the Oris ProPilot X and my own Zen 556. I actually did a full review or a full comparison video between the older ProPilot and my own Zen 556, but today I think these two watches, they're even closer in terms of design and theme. All right, we are looking at a modern pilot style of watch, and of course there are still so many differences, because the Oris here seems a lot bigger despite very similar case sizes. I guess that's because of the dome sapphire crystal as well as the larger dial size. So in terms of thickness over here, they are actually pretty similar. All right, but the Zen here has got a more or less more slab-sided type of design, thereby creating this look that it is thicker, but I think in terms of thickness they are very similar. All right, so you can see that these two watches, they'll forever be compared, but I can tell you on hand that when it comes to the overall feel and the weight, I do like lighter watches these days, so I think the Oris is much more comfortable to wear on a daily basis. And next up, we have a size comparison between the Oris ProPilot X. We're looking at the salmon dial version versus my own Citizen Chronomaster washi dial. Okay, so actually these two watches, they look and they wear very similarly because they're both full titanium watches, and in terms of dial sizes and all that, I think they are very similar. In actual fact, the Citizen here is quite a bit smaller, coming in at 37.5 millimeters case size, but in terms of dial sizes and overall thickness, I think they are still pretty similar. They have the same side profile where the mid case is rather thin, and you've got a good amount of case back protrusion as well as bezel height. So these two watches, they look very similar. And lastly, here's a comparison between the Oris ProPilot X versus the BB58. So both watches are actually the same size, all right, 39 millimeters case size, and actually both watches, they are more or less in the same price point, coming in at under 6,000 Singapore dollars with in-house movement. Okay, so of course the BB58 here is a vintage diver look, and they all have about the same thickness as well, coming in at around 12 millimeters case thickness overall. And I would say in terms of wearability, they are very similar, but again, the ProPilot here is the more comfortable watch to wear due to the overall lightness because of the titanium build. And zooming out for a fake wrist shot over here, all right, you can see that the ProPilot X Calibre 400 is very wearable due to the overall case size here, under 40 millimeters, L to L distance around 49 to 50 millimeters. That's including the male end link, the slightly protruding end link here. And I think in terms of fit, wearability and all that, this one here is very well designed, very well balanced. Not a problem at all. I'm just loving the overall lightweight feel of the titanium build. So all in all, I would say the ProPilot X Calibre 400 is a very good addition to the ProPilot family. For this ProPilot X Calibre 400 over here, we're looking at really good design features, really nice case build, wonderful looking bracelet over here. From this design to this seatbelt buckle over here, I think overall the design here looks really fresh and innovative. So I think this is a good move and a good release by Oris watches. So there you have it. That was my full review of the Oris ProPilot X Calibre 400. If you like this watch, if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, because I've got new videos uploaded every week just for you. And this is Andy in Singapore, together with my co-reviewers George, Pixie and some other friends over here. So we're gonna see you next week for more reviews. Bye bye.